Hello. Anyway, I saw someone posting a SEO forum yesterday. Can I make money for 2 hours of work a day? Now, I don't really understand a lot of cases where people come up with these theories, the idea that you can basically just spend 2 hours working a day, a week, whatever, and you'll apparently become a millionaire, a billionaire, or something richer. Because it doesn't really make much sense. The only way you could potentially be able to work 2 hours a day would be you would have to have a lot of money to spend or invest for people to do the work for you or for other people if you can't do it yourself for some reason. And the guy was basically confused when people said you can't really do that for CEO, you can't work 2 hours and expect to make it big. Generally, you can. Unless you have a lot of money to invest, you're very good at management, or someone does all the work for you, you can't work 2 hours and expect to become rich. It's just not how things work. You could potentially, for example, purposes, maybe work as a content writer for 2 hours a day. You could potentially make some money there. But again, would you be able to become rich, become a millionaire, even make 1,000 a week? Probably not very easy. And this is what I'm seeing quite often is people seem to have no sense when it comes to how work actually works. I mean, for example, it's like me saying to you, hey, so anyway, I'm really good at management. I'm going to become a shop manager 2 hours. You'll pay me, of course, 5,000 per hour since I'm such a great guy, whatever you want to call it. And that seems to be a sort of silliness that most people seem to think when it comes to CEO or businesses. The idea that you can just really, if you like, buy a website today, buy hosting for like $10, whatever. So your total cost for, say, domain buying, say $10 hosting, and then you can apparently become really rich. That doesn't work. You could potentially, in the past 5 to 7 years ago, you could potentially do these sort of things. You could potentially find it works well because you'd have a lot less competition. You could, for example, maybe buy GSA or some other automated link building software, and you could potentially rank for a lot of keyword phrases. But what worked in the past will generally not work anymore because Google and other search engines are always upgrading or updating what is going to work. So if you have a really good idea today, tomorrow, whenever, you might find when Google does its next update or another search engine, that idea doesn't work anymore. So that means you have two options. You either got to do something different, something better, or you got to stop doing SEO and do another career or another way to make money. And getting back to the whole idea of like 2 hours, make big money or whatever you want to call it, that's very unlikely to happen unless you have a decent amount of money to invest in, say, backlinks, invest in hosting, content providers, and a range of other things. If you only have 2 hours per day to do SEO or do work, that is no way enough to have any hope of doing really well unless you got big connections, big money, or some trick or some way to do it which is going to work. If you have a trick which does apparently work, then I guess it could, but the likelihood of you finding that is not likely. And this is what you should realize if you're hearing the concept that, 2 hours work, I became stinking rich, that kind of stuff. You basically can't. I mean, let's just say you have big money. Let's just say you're really smart at, say, stock investing or share buying, whatever. So let's just say you can invest, say, 20,000 every month in regards to buying stock or buying shares. Let's just say you can, because you're really smart, you're really good at investing. Let's just say you invest today 20,000 in, say, shares. You know good amount about the company, the chairperson in charge, and a bit of a company history. So you've got good inside knowledge. You've got a friend who's maybe in charge of a company, a managing director, whatever. So you get good inside information. So you invest 20,000. It turns out in a few years from now, because you're right doing it, you might then say make, for argument's sake, 40,000. So you made a good amount of investment because you understood what was going to happen. But if you just really invest blindly and just say, I like the name of this company, I like this guy in charge or this girl in charge, whatever, and then you do invest and it goes horribly wrong, that means you've in theory lost all your money. And this is the same when it comes to CEO. If you don't know what you're doing, you can do anywhere from do an amazing job to a completely horrible job. It depends on many different factors. And also as well, one of the things a lot of people get wrong when it comes to how search engines work, they don't understand But what works this week or this year could quite easily not work in the next year or next week, month, whatever. And if you're not willing to accept these sort of things, CEO itself, I'm afraid, is probably not the right career for you because the changes which happen are very, very fast. For example, whereas I used to do a type of link building, which I thought was really good at the time, it used to allow me to basically rank for a lot of different keyword and keyword phrases, but that either doesn't work. I'm not going to say what it is, but I don't want people doing it and getting screwed over. But this is why you have to be aware what works today, tomorrow could quite easily not work next week or next year or whenever you do the thing again. The rules of what works are changing at an incredibly fast rate. And one other thing to say about the whole 2 hour work apparently become rich idea, that is highly unlikely to happen. Unless you're, for example, person is very well connected, you've got a giant amount of money, for you spending 2 hours a day expecting to do well in CEO or any career is very, very unlikely. Unless, for argument's sake, let's just say you're really smart at programming or coding. Let's just say you make a video game. Let's just say you spend 2 hours a day making a video game. It takes you, like, say, 2 months to complete it all. You make a video game, it's really popular, people like it, love it, whatever you will call it. Then you maybe sell a membership to your thing, like $50, something like that. People keep buying it. I guess that could work for you, but for a likelihood of you getting something like that is pretty unlikely, unless you're willing to spend, I would say, a minimum of 5 hours a day. Most jobs or careers will generally not work for you as a whole. There's of course exceptions to every rule. Anyway, I'll stop the video. See you.